with our jab, if we're throwing out the jab, we're looking at trying to keep that nice and fast, but we also want power in there, okay? We don't just want to keep tagging our opponent. We actually want to have as much power as we can without reducing the amount of speed. So if we're looking at our Tai Chi Chuan process, I mean, everyone knows Tai Chi as this lovely, nice, slow art. So if we look at our Tai Chi process, we actually go through a process of looking at our the sum aspect of what we're actually doing, all the way through to refining that, and all the way through to pressurizing that. The symbol that I use in my school has three parts to it. We have the sum, the Daolu, and the sancha aspect of what we're actually doing. So that's the process that I'm going to work through here. If we actually slow it right down, we can actually see that there is a whole movement in here. We're not just firing from the hand. Right? To actually load a jab, we've actually got to get down into the legs first, yeah, and fire off and through. Now, granted, if we're already in a low stance and we can come through, we don't actually have to sort of drop and fire, okay? It just comes out. But normally, it comes out like so, yeah? Cool. So what we do in Tai Chi, again, with Tai Chi, it's lovely and big. We actually want to do these big movements to actually create some neural pathways in our body. We want to entrain this movement deep inside of our body so that when we actually start doing the movement with some speed and some Daojin, then this deep connective movement, okay, or Jin, is actually coming out through what we're actually doing. So as a process, what we do is we slow it right down and we make it really big. Okay? So we make a jab really big and goofy, right, so that we can actually really feel what we're doing through the body. So just nice and slow. Yeah, again, again, yeah, and again. Cool, awesome. So we're looking at nice and big. Now, if we were to measure things, if you actually had a force meter on here, what we'd want to do is with a big movement, make it nice and big and hit it as hard as you can. So go, big as hard. Yeah, again, harder. Bigger, harder. Nice and big, harder. Nice and big, harder. Nice and big, bigger, bigger, bigger. Cool. All right, so once we actually are looking at big movement, and again, if I had a force meter on my mitt, which actually would be a handy thing to have to actually make sure we're doing this honestly, because I can give some subjective feedback to Dylan, okay, so I can actually tell him, you know, if he hits me really big and hard, and I call that a 10, okay, then as we start to condense the movement, I can actually give him some feedback as to whether he's still punching at a good impact power, yeah? So now we need to condense it, all right, so go medium, right, there, so go medium, medium, yeah, halfway, 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 okay, now go, power, power, medium, condense it, go harder, go, 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 go. Okay, so now we're actually looking at speeding it up and trying to keep the same amount of power, all right? So now when we bring it down to a small, which is what it actually is, it's coming out from a jab and coming small, all right? So go, go, harder, go faster, good, go, 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 go. Because the process is you do this long, big stuff, just like we do in the form. Yeah, in the form, we actually are looking at doing nice big movements. Right, in this here, as we're fighting, we're trying to connect the same sort of thing. Now, when we're actually looking deeper into the movement, we can do a couple of drills, even without these things here. Because a lot of people, when they throw the jab, they're throwing the jab, right, but they're actually sending their power through the wrong channel of their body. Now, I use that in a very practical sense, okay? I'm not using any sort of crazy energy. There is a front path of the body, a back path of the body, and then we have the central path of the body. We're trying to actually get our power moving through the central path of the body. So if I show here, if I'm punching, my power comes around my back here, and I'm doing this here. All right, this is called sending the power through the back channel or the back path. And if my punch here hits and there's solid force there, there's a very, very good chance of this happening. All right, hands up. Yeah, is I'm actually coming out, so I'm actually bouncing myself off. Yeah, so I'm actually hitting and I'm bouncing myself off. So as a drill work, what we can do, come, go, yep, is test using a real body, okay, and looking at testing our punch, our force. Yep, turn it around, that's good. Yep, good, and cool, awesome. Now, as a training partner, what I would be doing is I'd be looking at his structure very, very carefully, okay? And I'd be looking to see whether he either bounces back out through the back path or comes through the front path. Now, the front path is basically over-leaning, okay? That's a very common thing, is to actually over-lean with it, and you end up sort of coming. And here is this, and I'm actually leaning in too far, okay? So I'm actually leaning in too far with it. Okay, so I'm coming in too far. And if Dylan was throwing that jab at me and was leaning in too far, so if he was leaning in too far, okay, that's where we can actually get that happening. As he's coming through here, okay, and I can start to catch him and do whatever. Or if he's leaning in too far, okay, these are where the kicks actually start to come into. All right, so there's the front path, back path. What we're trying to do is get the central path of the body, okay? To show you this again, as he's coming through here, that was probably a little bit too far forward, yeah? Yeah, we're trying to actually connect our power from our feet, okay? Connecting our power through our feet, up into the core of the body, up through the dantian area of the body, yeah? If I'm sending the power from my feet up through my legs, up through my backside and around the back of the body here, I'm not taking advantage of the big muscle, the big power of our core muscle through here. Okay, instead I'm actually sending it through around the back here. So we're trying to actually teach each other to actually connect through these parts of the body. So again, through there, yep. We connect, boom. Then we actually put it on the target that we're aiming for. Of course, we're aiming at the head. So here we do the same thing and we connect through. Same thing, and connect through. Push further, all the way ahead, all the way, and connect through. Just so that he actually gets to know his actual distancing, okay, and just how far through he needs to project, okay, for it to be a good deep hit. Again, he doesn't want to just hit the target here, he wants to push through until it's sort of coming out there. So he wants to go through and push through. And that's what we're looking at with our jab. To actually go in one step further, and that will actually be it for the purpose of this video, is we want to look at our yin and yang, okay? Now there's a few ways we actually want to look at that. On a very simple level, we have the yin and yang in our feet, weighted and unweighted, substantial and insubstantial, okay? So as Dylan, if we come this way a little bit so they can actually see your feet there, as Dylan's actually stepping forward here, this foot here, the front foot's becoming weighted, so that's becoming the yang foot, okay? That's becoming the yang foot, the foot that actually is receiving the weight. The foot that's actually then losing the weight at the back there, that is the foot that's actually becoming yin, it's becoming insubstantial. So we have one foot that's becoming yang and one foot that's becoming yin, okay? So there's the yin and yang. Again, Tai Chi Chuan means yin and yang boxing, okay? Grand ultimate, all that sort of stuff, forget about that. It actually means yin and yang boxing, okay? So we have, again, yin foot and, yang foot at the front, yin foot at the back there. All right, now this is where we actually start looking at the core of our body here, right? And the way we manipulate our changing of our weight and the turning of our hips designates a movement, whether it is yin or a yang movement. Okay, let me show you how. Okay, so we're jabbing with this hand here. Now, as you can see, with this punch here, the weight is coming to the right foot here, right? But the hips are turning to the left. Okay, the weight's coming to the right foot, and the hips are actually turning to the left. That's actually a yin movement. Okay, so we're relying more on the torque of the body or the spiraling through the movement. So this is coming into transference. This is the spiraling of the movement that's coming through. So it's not as much in terms of carrying the mass of your body into the strike. So therefore it's designated as a yin strike. So a jab, okay, a jab is designated as a yin strike. We're actually connecting through here using the spiraling of the body, the weight's coming to the front foot, the hips are though turning to the back foot. It designates it as a yin strike. Okay, so again, so jabbing here and boom. So you can see the weight's to the front foot, the hips though are turning to the back leg there. Now again, this is really important as he's doing this to keep the power through the core of the body. Okay? We're trying to keep the power through the core of the body. Again, emphasizing it, if he was to go through the back, so go through the back and hit, right, and push harder, right, he's going to actually bounce off there, okay? Because when you're hitting, you want to actually have as much of your mass actually driving through that punch as possible. So again, we're keeping this Tai Chi Chuan at a very, very, very physical and physiological level. Yeah, no magic, no crazy stuff, just very basic stuff, using the Tai Chi Chuan principles to improve the way we're actually training and operating in our fighting. So from here again, jab, there, and try and keep that nice and connected through the body here. Okay. Now a yang strike, of course, is where the weight and the turning of the hips is actually going in the same direction. Very simple, it's straight. Okay, so you've got the jab, in this case with the right hand there, and then if we follow with the straight through here, okay, what we actually need to do with that, with the straight, go jab, there, and then dig, and there, okay, is the weight is coming to the right foot or the front foot here, but so are the hips, okay? He's actually closing the qua around so that he's actually bringing the weight and the mass of the hips around. We're recruiting the power from the foot, the leg, through the core of the body, all the way through the mass of our body here. We're using the shoulder nest, so I call these qua as well, right? The qua here, connecting through here, and we're closing everything up, and we're bringing all the power through the body. We're using a hydraulic internal power, okay? So that's Jin, okay? An internal hydraulic power, that's all it means, okay? So just to reiterate what we've actually been talking about here, we're talking about, first thing we want to do is come from a sung state, okay? A state of being nice and relaxed, okay? We're also looking at being a state that is connected through our body. I call it Daojin, okay? Pathways of power, okay? Daojin, right? That's what I call it. We're looking at then doing a big movement with what we're actually looking at doing, okay? So if we're looking at doing, again, the jab, we break it down. What is the full movement with that jab here, and what is the full movement with that? And really explore that on a long-term basis. So take some time with it, spend 10, 20 minutes just doing that aspect of it, okay? Then we're looking at how to actually take this big movement and put power into it, okay? So this is where we start pressurizing it. As soon as you start actually hitting something, okay, or hitting someone, okay, that's putting pressure on your form. That's putting pressure on what you're actually doing. Just hitting a heavy bag is starting to put pressure on what you're actually doing. Then, of course, we're going to escalate that further and further until you're doing sparring work and full contact work, etc., etc. So you need to pressurize it. So as soon as you start hitting something, okay, you're putting pressure on it, and you're trying to feel, okay, where you're leaking in the body. So where the power is not connecting, okay, and that's where we do our partner work and we actually help each other out there, okay. Then we look at refining that even further by understanding the yin and the yang, okay, how to actually open and close the qua to actually get more power and more connectivity through the body. So we're channeling our Jin, or channeling our internal hydraulic power through our body properly. Put more pressure on it, put more pressure on it, put more pressure on it, then learning how to actually snap it out so that you're doing some Jin, okay? You're launching or you're exploding with that same movement, okay? So that's how Tai Chi Chuan can actually improve your jab. Cheers, thanks for that.